known.
He's absolutely brilliant at what he does.
And he's very good at what, exactly.
Amazing.
So if you're going to have an inaugural podcast category.
And you don't have...
It just speaks to living in the blue sky bubble.
Yeah.
But get out of your fucking bubble, you know? I want to be one of you. I am one of you. But you're just so hard to defend because you're just so fucking smug assholes. And this town is the epicenter of the problem.
Bill Maher has turned his attention to Hollywood, and the reaction is intense. The outspoken critic took aim at the film industry, accusing it of promoting ideological agendas and influencing culture in ways he believes have produced negative results. His commentary was sharp, direct, and unapologetic. So make sure to subscribe, and let's dive straight into the discussion.
I want to do something next year about celebrities, not to get too political, but they just make it worse.
Your whole career.
No, I mean with you guys. They just make it worse, celebrities do, when they speak. And they're almost always on one side of the political divide.
Yes.
And that's basically the side I vote for. You know, as I always say to my woke friends, we voted for the same person. You're just why she lost. I could gather, and I think I will, because it'll be funny, just the incredibly stupid things that celebrities say about politics or finance or something.
Yeah, we're bad.
And then, so if you're like the person out there going, well, how can you live on $100 million a year? Vote Kamala Harris. That's the game. Yeah.
Bill Maher sharply criticized celebrities who casually back presidential candidates without taking the time to understand the facts or the broader political reality. While he openly acknowledged voting for Kamala Harris, Maher said he believed early on that her campaign was headed toward defeat. He argued that her failure to clearly distance herself from an increasingly unpopular cultural movement left her exposed to voter dissatisfaction. According to Maher, this weakness existed long before Election Day. He repeatedly warned both the campaign and the Democratic National Committee that dismissing public frustration would come at a serious cost, but those warnings were ignored. Instead of confronting hard truths, party leaders chose comfort over honesty. At the same time, Hollywood figures rushed to support Harris with enthusiastic endorsements, confidently predicting an easy win. Maher contends that this celebrity-driven echo chamber created a false sense of momentum, built on applause, online praise, and virtue signaling rather than genuine voter sentiment. In the end, he says, reality proved far more powerful than any red carpet approval.
Can't let the country in the hands of these people. I'll vote for this guy who's crazy, but at least this kind of crazy, I can almost relate to him more.
You can't have movie stars and politicians that we know have hundreds of millions of dollars lecturing you. It's just the elitist thing that came out of all that, the Democrats. It wasn't a positive thing. They are not going to do that in 2028. I bet they'll have regular people.
He's so thoughtful sometimes.
He's very smart about this stuff.
Yeah, he really is.
I have a lot of opinions, but I have a job.
You should do the show.
Dana Carvey suggests that celebrities may hesitate before jumping into political endorsements again, particularly after seeing how poorly the last wave of support for Democratic candidates turned out. He believes the outcome highlighted just how far removed Hollywood activism has become from everyday voters. According to Carvey, celebrity political messaging often feels out of touch and ineffective, sometimes causing more damage than benefit. In his view, it comes across as elitist when wealthy entertainers, sheltered within their Hollywood circles, attempt to lecture ordinary Americans on political choices. He argues that this kind of top-down moral messaging pushes away working-class voters who already feel overlooked or misunderstood by cultural elites. Rather than building trust, celebrity endorsements can deepen frustration and distrust toward the political establishment. Carvey adds that voters aren't looking for direction from red carpets or private jets. They want leaders who understand rising living costs, public safety concerns, and real-world struggles. Until celebrities acknowledge that divide, he believes their political influence will continue to fade instead of persuade.
I just got a Golden Globe nomination for the one I did.
Oh, really?
That's yesterday.
How often do you get nominated for your specials?
Nothing. I used to get nominated for everything.
Yeah.
And then the wokeness came in, and then I was considered conservative, which
Are you bad?
ridiculous. So I was what I call soft canceled.
Yeah.
Where you don't.
Well, I'm a Bill Clinton liberal. which is from the 90s, which is now called
Me too.
a Nazi.
Far right.
Exactly,
Yeah.
right.
Yeah.
You're a
So-
white supremacist.
So this is the first time in a while I've been nominated for something.
Okay.
Which I think shows a little bit that we are coming out of the wokeness. I mean, I'm not going to win, and I'm probably not even going to go, but I take it as a victory that they were not able to ignore how good that special was. I just say that it's my last.
Bill Maher reflects on what he calls being quietly sidelined simply for refusing to conform to Hollywood's progressive expectations. Before speaking out, his comedy specials regularly earned major award nominations and industry recognition. But once he began openly critiquing prevailing cultural orthodoxy, those opportunities began to disappear. Maher says he wasn't officially banned. He was just quietly ignored and pushed out of the spotlight. The message, he explains, was unmistakable. Fall in line or fade away. For years, he watched other comedians play it safe while award seasons passed him by. Now, as public sentiment shifts and the influence of that cultural movement diminishes, Maher is suddenly back in the mix. His recent Golden Globe nomination feels less like coincidence and more like confirmation. It's a clear reminder that Hollywood often follows trends, not principles. Maher deserves credit for standing firm, enduring the backlash, and refusing to compromise when taking the easy path would have been simpler.
Not one that the woke can watch and not throw up because I call their shit out. And the fact that people are laughing shows that it's funny. When you do stupid things, it's funny. And the left did a lot more stupid things in the last 5 to 10 years. And I'm a comedian. I go where the gold is. And it's hitting the side of a barn to make fun of some of this.
Sure, it's too easy.
If you think, I quoted like very esteemed publications like The Atlantic or saying things like, separating sports by sex doesn't make sense. Well, if that's not of course it does. If anybody can't do 5 minutes on that,
Yeah.
or Mr. Beast, who was helping disabled people, and the Washington Post guy was tweeting like, he thinks disability is something that needs to be solved.
Over the past few years, Bill Maher has faced nonstop criticism for his outspoken anti-woke stance. Many expected the pressure to break him, but he did the opposite. Rather than backing down, Maher doubled down, dedicating much of his latest comedy special to critiquing the far left, while others carefully avoided controversy. Standing firm like that takes real courage in an industry where careers can disappear in an instant. Despite the risks, Maher speaks his mind, no matter who it might upset. Meanwhile, many comedians fold at the first sign of backlash, choosing safety over honesty, but Maher refused to compromise.
See that there's a podcast category at the Globes?
Oh, really?
You know what someone said? I thought
Is
they
there?
were kidding.
Oh,
I would think you.
did we get nominated?
No,
We're defending
wouldn't
champions,
you have known it by now?
We won the
We got-
comedy
yeah,
They
we got
only
best
podcast.
comedy,
nominated
actually.
like the super woke stuff.
Bill Maher and his guests openly questioned why figures like Joe Rogan were completely absent from this year's Golden Globe podcast nominations. For years, the Joe Rogan Experience has dominated the podcast landscape, consistently ranking among the most listened to and influential shows worldwide. Its reach, cultural impact, and longevity are virtually unmatched. Yet despite these achievements, Rogan was mysteriously left off the list. Maher sees this omission as less about quality or popularity and more about ideology. He argues that Rogan's willingness to challenge mainstream narratives makes him unacceptable to award show gatekeepers. According to Maher, Hollywood increasingly rewards political alignment over merit. While voices that echo approved perspectives are celebrated, successful dissenters are quietly excluded. The result, he warns, is an awards culture that feels less like recognition and more like ideological enforcement.
We're going to have an inaugural podcast category.
And you don't
Maybe
have...
it just it just speaks to living in the blue sky bubble.
Yeah.
But get out of your fucking bubble, I want to be one of you. I am one of you. But you're just so hard to defend because you're just such smug assholes. And this town is the epicenter of the problem.
Bill Maher delivers a scathing critique of Hollywood, claiming the industry is trapped in a self-reinforcing liberal bubble. He argues that studio executives, award committees, and celebrities have become so insulated that they avoid engaging with anyone who challenges their worldview. Rather than debate or dialogue, dissent is met with silence, exclusion, or subtle punishment. Maher says this mindset has turned Hollywood into an echo chamber where agreement is rewarded and disagreement treated as heresy. He cites Joe Rogan as a prime example, suggesting the podcaster was deliberately sidelined, not for lack of influence or talent, but because he refuses to conform to prevailing ideology. In Maher's view, Hollywood no longer values open conversation. It values conformity. By shutting out voices like Rogan's, he warns, the industry isn't advancing progress. It's showing just how disconnected it has become from millions of Americans with different perspectives.
The thing about the Oscars is they do reflect society. That's why we pay so much attention, partly. And things are always changing in our industry, like streaming. It just changed the whole industry. This happens so often. So they have to come up with new categories for the awards. The Golden Globes came up with a new one this year. That basically picture people liked. They had, they had become such self-congratulating, virtue-signaling bores that they had to go, oh yeah, let's make a category for that. People actually paid to see something.
Bill Maher sharply criticizes what he calls the woke movie industry, arguing that it prioritizes online activist pressure over storytelling and artistic quality. He claims Hollywood now goes out of its way to appease activists, even creating award categories that reward symbolism over substance. Maher points to the introduction of the Picture People Liked category as a clear example of how far standards have slipped. He ridicules the concept, suggesting it feels less like a serious accolade and more like a participation trophy meant to avoid offending anyone. In his view, award shows have become so desperate for relevance and approval that they've weakened their own credibility. Rather than celebrating excellence, innovation, or genuine cultural impact, Hollywood continues lowering the bar to satisfy every loud online demand. Maher warns that this constant virtue signaling doesn't uplift cinema. It diminishes it.
So there's some Oscar categories. Would you like to hear the Oscar category? I knew you would. I knew you would want to hear them. For example, this was needed. Best editing of a film that's still an hour too long. Achievement in ethnic prosthetics. Best achievement in replacing an actor who tweeted something offensive. Best use of a freeze frame, followed by the words, "You're probably wondering how I got here."
Maher then shifts his focus to Hollywood executives, delivering sharp satire aimed at the Oscars and Golden Globes. Through a series of exaggerated parodies, he humorously invents woke awards to highlight the growing absurdity he sees in the industry. These sketches aren't just for laughs. They're a critique of how hollow and performative many accolades have become. Maher argues that awards once meant to celebrate excellence in filmmaking are now diluted by ideological box-checking and moral signaling. By parodying categories that prioritize messaging over merit, he emphasizes how little these trophies truly represent. In his view, Hollywood has replaced genuine achievement with symbolic validation, turning prestigious ceremonies into self-congratulatory spectacles. When everything is an award, nothing truly matters. Maher's message is clear. Hollywood has lost its way. Obsessed with ideology and approval, the industry rewards conformity over creativity. By sidelining dissenting voices and inventing hollow accolades, it has drained meaning from both comedy and cinema. His relentless critiques, sharp satire, and refusal to fall in line expose an entertainment culture afraid of disagreement. Love him or hate him, his commentary resonates because it taps into growing public frustration. When art becomes activism and applause replaces honesty, credibility collapses, and no amount of trophies can fix it. If you enjoyed this video, hit the like button and subscribe for more. Thanks for watching, and I'll see you in the next one.